I was in Purdue University in my first year there, and I wanted to serve, and so I joined the Army Air Corps. Went overseas as a pilot in B-17s, flew 29 combat missions and a couple of missions dropping food to the Dutch, and flew home on my birthday, and the war was over. That was my military career. You've always heard there were no atheists in a foxhole. Believe me, there were no atheists in an airplane either.
Both my brothers, older brothers, were in the war. One was taken prisoner and was in a German concentration camp. And I remember the impact that had on our family and the importance of prayer at that time.
One of the visits that started all this was we were there on a Sunday, and that's what led Joe to say, well, where are these students worshiping, you know? Where are they going to church? There's a big need here.
It was interesting to me to think that as you looked at the campus, you didn't see the prominence of a place to worship, or they could go and just have, you know, a quiet meditation time with the Lord. So I asked Mr. Cervini, why not a chapel? And he said, well, interesting you should mention that. That's something for the future. And to me, the future is now.
Hillsdale has had a chapel for most of its history. In the 1850s, it built the College Baptist Church down the street. Well, we use the College Baptist Church today, but the college is more than twice as big as it was back then. We can't all get into it anymore. And colleges in America and in the medieval times in Europe have always had academic religious ceremonies. We call the main ones here are Convocation. You need the whole campus community to get together, and we don't have a place to do that that's proper for it. And why do it now? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but one of them is Mr. Babbitt and his wife Jo are keen for us to build it. We're very grateful for that, and they've given us a significant gift to get started on it. And if we can get the rest of the money, then now is a better time than tomorrow. The two chief ways of knowing are reason and faith, and they are different ways of knowing, and there is some significant overlap between them. And there's never been a great university that was not heavily concerned with the question of God, and there's never been serious Christian practice that was not heavily concerned with learning. And to take one of them out is to deprive it of an essential element. This chapel will be a daily reminder of that essential fact, always remembered here, never remembered too much.
The inspiration for the new Christ Chapel started with looking at Central Hall. The yellow brick, the front porch, the two towers or pavilions to either side. The large arch window in the middle is actually inspired by the round window at Central Hall, which is the spot where there was a chapel at one time. So that's where we started. What was the inspiration for the inside? The interior of the chapel is inspired by that quintessential English church, St. Martin in the Fields, which is the model for most early American churches, where you have a major nave, large columns supporting a big vault, and balconies, because the college wanted to have a church that seats 1,300 that would feel intimate for 600. The balconies lead your eye towards the pulpit, towards the table, the altar, and there we have an organ and a beautiful Surliana window. So the interior is inspired by St. Martin in the Fields, and St. Martin in the Fields is the model for such great churches as Christ Church in Philadelphia, where the founding fathers met during the Continental Congress.
The liberal arts are concerned with that which is true. So when you're studying the liberal arts and understanding the world around you and what it means to be human, you come to the conclusion that to be human is to be made in the image of God.
I see this chapel as being a visible reminder of God's presence on the campus and his plan for what he wants the students and faculty to do for his kingdom.
I believe that building a chapel on this campus will be the perfect symbol of what has been happening at Hillsdale for years. And that is the serious pursuit of truth, particularly in Scripture and generally in all of the liberal arts.
The college has four purposes, and they are freedom, high learning, that's learning the ultimate goods in nature and God, the development of high moral character, and the propagation of the Christian faith. Those four things are central at Hillsdale College. They have not been changed since 1844. So of course, the chapel, that has to be right in the middle of everything.
We just feel that the placement of it is the absolute perfect place because it just makes you aware of God's presence on campus. You know, you go by and you can't help but think, that's my faith. That's the foundation that all of this learning is building to.
The first thing we're going to do in it is we're going to have Convocation and Baccalaureate. Convocation, there are 4 of them a year, including commencement. We all gather, we wear our robes, the choir sings, we say prayers. So then there'll also be 30 prayer group meetings a day at Hillsdale College. And there are 3 or 4 religious services every day, and those will be held in the chapel and in the side chapel, a home for those. Then the chapel's going to be a great place for music. More than 30% of our students are involved in music. We have an 85-piece orchestra. We have 150 people in a chorus. They sing and play a lot of sacred music, the chorus mostly sacred music. We are going to put in the chapel 2 world-class organs, and we want to have choral evensong. And the major orchestral and choral performances will be in the chapel. I came here 16 years ago. The specific reason that I decided that I would work here if they would have me, and they had said that they would, is that I read those beautiful original articles of the college. Those articles were written by New England preachers who'd come to the frontier, and some of them became friends of Abraham Lincoln, and they did wonderful things in the cause of Lincoln. So as in the founding, the practice of the Christian faith gave powerful support to the greatest movement of freedom in all of human history. I came here with a love for that and a wish to make that stronger and better. The chapel is actually the last significant structure that requires to be built to complete that work. The work will never be complete, but the structures will all be in place. Won't that be something? I pray for that.
We didn't enter into this whole thing with Hillsdale very lightly. The Lord has blessed us more than we ever thought was possible. And with a blessing, we have a responsibility to Him to be good stewards because it's all His money. So where does this money go? We've prayed many times that this would be the proper place. And we believe it is the proper place because it will have students in there that are going to change the world. And we need them. We need them badly.